Welcome to this week's edition of We'd Rather See This, a Canacast about the big moving cannabis stories of the week, globally. I am Marguerite Arnold, reporting today on digital location from Germany's first cannabis-only pharmacy, operated by Lux99. Thanks, guys, for the permission. We may be in lockdown, but the cannabis industry never sleeps. Also, a first for this episode, our first test episode aus Deutsch. Be sure to check it out. Today, a Spanish showdown is brewing, and in several places, over the issue of cannabis clubs and constitutional access. 1/3 of the novel food applications in the UK failed the first administrative hurdle, and a Polish company begins the process of putting more than 5,000 square meters under contract to begin a medical cannabis cultivation designed to help jumpstart the nascent domestic regulated industry. First up, the Spanish club question is heating up again, this time in the Basque region of the country. Basque cannabis social clubs are requesting clarification from state authorities this week on their ability to stay open during the remainder of the pandemic. Of course, the Basques are not the only independently minded group of Spaniards fighting in the bullring on this issue. The question of regulation, if not reopening of the clubs in Barcelona, where the majority are found, has been a bubbling sore throughout the pandemic. Such confrontations have been made even more inflammatory with the public jailing of Albert Tio, a Spanish activist, who turned himself in to authorities last December. The Gen X father of 3 has been charged with criminal offenses for his part in organizing the entire Spanish cannabis club movement. His court case has now been accepted for a hearing at the European Court of Human Rights at Strasbourg. It is a landmark case, and if Tio wins, it may fundamentally change the right of access to cannabis not only in Spain, but across Europe. Olé. As they say in Texas, mess with the bull and you get the horns. Next up, a look at the status of the legitimizing British CBD market. Business Can is reporting that, according to the British FSA, or Food Safety Authority, fewer than 25% of the pending novel food applications on the Brexited side of the discussion have passed the initial validation phase. As of late February, the FSA reported that it had received 404 applications. 89 applications have passed the first admin check, with another 227 outstanding. As a result of this, the March 31st deadline for submitting applications may be pushed back. The FSA now plans to have a first list of cleared products on its website as of sometime in April. For those who are unfamiliar with the idea of novel foods, this is regulation in the European Union and the UK that refers to plants and other foodstuffs that have not been in common use since 1997. It is being broadly applied to the CBD business in both the UK and Europe. There is a great deal of debate now in policy circles about whether any part of the cannabinoid plant is actually novel. Regardless, so far, many companies in Europe and the UK have decided that this process and regulatory schemata is the correct one to proceed under, as opposed to an organic certification called EU Bio. It is a geek fight for sure. One thing is certain, however, the CBD business is getting up and regulated across Europe, and no matter the early fits and starts, it is a good sign. And finally, in Poland, a hemp company called Lawokana has entered into a preliminary agreement to acquire more than 5,000 square meters of real estate with the intention of creating an indoor cultivation space. Lawokana already operates a food and medical hemp products distribution business, as well as an industrial biomass vertical, in addition to the cultivation and production of hemp. The company's goal is to build an eco-friendly hub to support Polish hemp companies and launch it by the end of 2026. Poland's cannabis market is certainly in an interesting place right now. Several of the bigger Canadian companies, notably Aurora and Canopy Growth, entered the market with a great deal of fanfare several years ago. However, so far, most patients cannot get access to products, and the products that are available in the country are priced out of reach of most. Most Polish patients and their families must endanger themselves by buying from the black market. Those who can afford it can also cross the border into another European country and purchase cannabis from foreign sources, notably either Germany or Holland. But therein lies the rub. Who can afford this travel, plus the cost of the drug? To date in Poland, medical cannabis, sadly, has only been for the rich. That is a trend, tragically, which is still global. That's it for this edition of We'd Rather See This. I also want to thank Cannabis Translations for being my Deutsch voice in the German version. You can find their information in the credits. I am Marguerite Arnold. See you next week, same cannabis-scented channel.